Hi, welcome. I'm Aubrey. I'm an intuitive and an energy healer. I'm so glad you're here. And I tried to get some information on what this group healing would be about. I got nothing, but I did start a video before this, and it was only like a minute long. And I had my AirPods in. I didn't know what that would do to the sound, and so I decided to start over. So I just got to one thing, and it was the solar plexus and living our life mission. That's what I'm getting from this. And so we all come here with a purpose, whether you believe this or not. Some people, I think, have a hard time even trusting that they're capable of knowing what their life mission is, or like maybe don't feel important enough that they were given a life mission. Okay, I'm getting that from this stream of consciousness. So when I'm tapping into this, it's it doesn't matter when you're seeing this. It could be years from when I videoed this. It doesn't have to be. Time is not linear when it comes to energy. So I just want to put that out there. So I'm tapping into anyone or anyone that could connect to this, future or current. And when I'm tapping into it, it's like this stream of energy. It's a thought form. It could be like archetype type energy. So I think this is pretty common for a lot of people who are like, I just wish I knew what I'm supposed to do with my life. Don't you think that's a really common thing? And, I heard Sarah Elcaldi is just the bee's knees, if you ask me. I think she's amazing, and I really value what she has to say. And I think she was at a Q&A or something, or she was just talking about like, how do we know if we're on the right path, like if we're living our life mission? And she said, follow your passion. Just follow your passion, because I think people, I don't know, like for myself, I think sometimes that it'll just like smack me in the face. Like God will say, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and you're supposed to do it. But no, I think that we have been given desires and interests for a reason. And I say just take one step after another and see what happens, because you're eventually going to find this, like, again, I keep saying this stream of energy that's just going to take you away. That's what I feel like energy healing has been for me. I just can't get away from it. And so I know that this is part of my life mission. I love it so much. And so anyway, okay, yep. It could be anything for you. It could be, I remember in the same Q&A that Sarah Elcaldi was talking, she said, at one point, my life mission was flower essences. At one point, it was essential oils. So like, it doesn't have to be something that you're constantly, it's like you're locked in forever. It can just be like this in the now moment, and then this in the now moment, and then so on and so on. And it doesn't have to be like a constant theme throughout your life. Like anyway, it can be, of course, like energy healing has been for me over the last 10 years. So, and it was part of my life before that too. I just have to mention, like, even part of my childhood, I experienced it in a lot of different ways. Okay. So what do we need to heal? Having to do with the solar plexus and clearing blocks from being able to live our life mission. I'm getting, it's interesting that it's inherited for everyone that's watching this. So it's an an inherited emotion of hatred. So breathe, clear this out. Just trust that I'm clearing this for you. You can, breathe along with me, tap, clear things, whatever. But just, you don't have to do anything. Just listen if that's what you want to do. I got a wave of dizziness and some air moving up my throat. So something big is shifting. So a really big miasm is coming up. Okay, so miasms again are just a distorted energy that we inherit from ancestors. So we're just going to trust that our highest self is going to be able to figure out exactly which ancestor it comes from. I'm getting that this miasm has to do with it's like chameleon energy is what I'm getting, is just not feeling comfortable enough or not feeling anchored enough is what I'm getting into who we are in order to even understand or know who we are on a core level. So clearing that out. There we go. Okay, now that we recognize that, I feel like it was easier to clear out. What else do we need to clear out having to do with this solar plexus stuff, having to do with life mission? Okay, there are several emotions. Horror, clear that out. What else? Peeved. Another wave of dizziness having to do with that one. What else? Dread? I'm getting dread of showing ourselves and not being accepted for who we are. That's what I'm getting. I'm feeling like just this wave of almost crying. Discouragement is the emotion though. Oh, it's a big one. It's stuck. Okay. Anything more we need to know about it? No. Let's just go continue and just have the intention that we're clearing this out. It's not ready yet. I'm very, very stuck. Okay, here we go. Any other emotions having to do with this? Yes. Self-abuse, like, why can't I just be me? Why is it so scary? All right, that's it for emotions for now. What more? Do we need to work more on the solar plexus? No. Okay, what else do we need to work on then? Does this have to do with life mission stuff? I'm getting a no, but there's a miasm. I'm getting like an authority figure block is what I'm getting. I'm getting giving over our own authority, like giving away our sovereignty. That's what I'm getting, of like, this authority figure knows better than I do, so I'm just going to abandon myself and not listen to my gut. Okay, what else do we need to work on? Let's see. Some kind of toxicity, an energetic toxicity. I just got, I feel like I'm choking, actually. And then I just feel like this heaviness in the pit of my stomach. What is this? Toxicity of authority figures. That's what I'm getting. There's this, just like closing in on our energy, like constriction rather than expansion. Just this constriction energy. That's what we're clearing out. All right. Okay. I figured this would come up in this session, but for some reason this memory came up, and it was something I was thinking about a lot this morning, like before, or I knew that I was going to do a video, and it was just like while I was getting ready. So a memory came up where, if you're not aware of Veda Austin's work having to do with, what is her actual title? It's like, well, she's like a hydroglyphs expert. She's studying, I don't know exactly. I wish I completely understood her credentials. I know she's going to school. It has to do with hydroglyphs. It may be part of like a dissertation type thing that she's working on this, but I'm not really sure. But she is a water crystal photographer or something along those lines. I don't think, that's not like the title. I'm getting it wrong. It doesn't matter. What she does is she freezes water. Oh, she doesn't freeze water all the way. She gets a crystallized, she gets the water so it's crystallized. And I think what she does is she dumps out the water, because I've tried to do this and it photographs way better if you have a little bit of water that's in there that you like pour out, and then the crystals are a lot easier to like see the patterns of. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't checked out her work, go to Instagram, or I think she has a YouTube channel. She's not super active on there, but she has some examples of, like, she placed an image of her friend, and it's like this almost exact, not exact, because that's the thing, is like the water is interpreting the energy of the photo or the word or whatever. It's not like an exact replica of what she has placed under the water before she froze it. So it was like an image of her friend's profile, but not like an exact. And she did, like, one time she did the word milk. She wasn't even thinking of like human breast milk, but there was a breast that showed up in the crystallized water. Just a couple of examples, things like that. I'm trying to think. Anyway, okay, I'll move on to what came up in my mind, and I was like, it was just this beautiful imagery. Okay, let me explain. So she took, and I'm not going to be able to remember all of the details exactly, so please forgive me, Veda, or anyone else who knows the story. Please correct me if you know the details, but it's something along the lines of, she took this egg that was like from a chicken that was laid on a farm, like an organic farm type of thing, where it wasn't like just a factory. So she took one of those eggs and looked at the image. It was consistent with, I can't remember exactly what the image was, to be honest. But what's important about this story is she wanted to see what would happen if, so the image of the homegrown egg, quote unquote, it was very different from the image that she got from like pasteurized, like mass-produced egg. So it was a very different, and I can't remember if she like actually took the yolk or if she like used the energy of that in from the and somehow like programmed it into the water. She doesn't like the word programmed either. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. Influenced the water, or like the water showed whatever the message from that. So what happened when she put one homegrown egg around and then surrounded it by a bunch of other like factory produced eggs, what happened is it wasn't the factory produced eggs that influenced the homegrown egg, it was the homegrown egg that influenced the factory eggs, which we hear quite often, like choose your friends wisely because you're the sum of the people that you hang around with. Like if you're hanging around with a bunch of dark influences, we're told that we are going to like be dimmed and darkened if our light is brighter than those that we're around, or you know, that type of thing. And I think that can happen. I'll be honest, like I'm not doubting that can happen. I think though that when we get up to like if you're familiar with the scale of consciousness by David Hawkins, I think that if you get up to a certain level of consciousness, that you're able to influence others around you and not be influenced by those around you. That is my own personal belief, and that's what my intuition is telling me about what we need to get to in this stream of consciousness. Like in this group healing, this is what our goal is. So which makes sense, right? Because we don't want to be influenced by other people when we are trying to live our life mission. We want to be able to influence others and give them our internal innate spark within us. We don't want to dim that. So I hope that story made sense. Okay, I'm going to ask, what is the level of consciousness on this David Hawkins scale of consciousness? What level do we need to get up to in order to be one of those people that can influence those around us instead of be influenced by those around us? I'm getting 650. And that's quite high. Okay, that's okay. I am trusting that the right people are going to find this, and we may not achieve 650 in this session. The scale goes up to 1,000, but there are some people that are saying, and it is actually my personal belief, that we are actually, as we get closer and closer to the new earth consciousness, we're going above this 1,000 degree level of consciousness. So anyway, that's what like the range is. David talks about it being 1,000 though. So how do we get to this 650 level of consciousness? And I wish I had like I don't know. I'm not, you can go look it up. What is 650? There are different like emotions or levels, archetype kind of things that represent each number. So you can go look that up. Okay, I'm getting PTSD. We're gonna need to clear out this PTSD having to do with being afraid of being ourselves, and not just afraid. This obviously is a trauma. We have been scrutinized, we have been persecuted for showing who we are and not being accepted for that. So that is what we're clearing out. What else? miasm. I'm feeling like I need to go to my cards. Let's see. I feel like I'm choking again. What is this? Okay. Okay, this card says, where am I being called? Or let's see, where are you being called to journey to? And in my mind, when I saw this, I saw like a bunch of finger pointing and like mocking and, oh, you can't do that. Like, you think you can achieve that? That type of mentality. Like, we are feeling, again, scrutinized for trying to be someone. So there's a miasm around this. Lots of miasms are so common these days, I feel like, in my work, and I think it's just clearing out all the inherited stuff as we're collapsing duality and getting closer to this new earth energy. Okay. What else do we need to do to get to this 650 level of consciousness? Another PTSD. Okay, I'm not getting we need to get clarity around this. Just clearing out another trauma that has to do with us not feeling comfortable being ourselves and living our life mission. Okay, just give me one moment. This is strange. I'm being led to this page in this book that's talking about, okay, I must be talking to a bunch of advanced people because it's this Kundalini book. I don't even know. Kundalini Vidya, the science of spiritual transformation. It's talking about the Makara point, which is basically the end of a Kundalini awakening. Okay, hang on, just give me 1 second to figure out what's going on here. Okay, I guess I'm just going to start reading out loud. When necessary, which it is, this phase of renovation and restoration takes place after a partial, deflected, or intermediate rising. Okay. Has been corrected, diverted, or unblocked and elevated, and a full rising to Makara is attained. To complete the journey, Kundalini Shakti must use the Vyas to go through the brain centers and clear out the toxins that accumulated due to poor lifestyle, negative emotion, trauma, etc. Okay. Oh, wow, this is kind of crazy. So give me one thing out of this paragraph that I need to focus on first. I'm just asking. Okay. I'm getting that for a lot of people that I'm talking to, there's going to be some kind of blocked or deflected Kundalini energy. And Kundalini risings are more and more common these days. So I'm just going to go with it. Okay, why has there been like a partial or deflected kundalini rising in this group? I'm getting a miasm around a fear of stepping out of like the status quo. Is what I'm getting. That's it. Okay, that's it having to do with that. But there's parts of the brain. So the Makara point talked about needing to clear out certain parts of the brain. So I'm going to work on that. What needs to be cleared out in this part of the brain? Okay, PTSD. Clearing that out. Again, this is going to be for a very specific group of people. What else do we need to clear out in the brain? Another PTSD. Fear of being seen. Traumatized around trying to put ourselves out there and not being accepted. What else do we need to work on? Another feeling of hatred, clearing hatred out. And the hatred, I'm getting like fingers pointed toward us. And so it's like being hated. That people hate us. That's what I'm getting. Okay, clearing that out. Okay. Just feel like I need to stretch for a minute. That's it having to do with that section. It was a strange turn. Okay, anything else we need to do with this, reaching this 650 level? No, but there is something else that we need to touch on having to do with life mission work. Okay. Fragmentation. And I just got like a kind of muffled sound in my left ear. I don't know what that was about. Okay, we're gonna imagine a basin in front of us. All of the necessary fragments are going to be called in and placed into this basin. And we're going to imagine it being cleansed and purified. All of the distortions, all the trauma is going to be cleaned off of this. Just using the law of witnessing to make this happen. And we're going to need to use divine light to cleanse this as well. So kind of like a flash fire going over this. Okay. It's not ready to raise up yet. I'm seeing a person climbing like this wall or this ladder or something. And then a bunch of people like trying to pull them down. So again, just makes me so mad. Whenever we try to rise up, a lot of times people don't like when we're moving out of the energy that they're used to us being in. So they're gonna like try to pull us down. Clearing out that energy. Oh, stuck. Okay. Tap all over anywhere you feel needs to be tapped. Ooh, dizzy. Okay, I feel like it's cleared out. Are we ready to reintegrate these fragments? Yes. Okay, we're going to raise it up to our current age, all of our life experiences, and imagine it being welcomed back into our energy. Okay. Okay, I think that's it. That's not it. What else? I'm getting a longing of being accepted. A longing, just like we need to clear out this longing. Because, okay, here's the thing. I just saw 3113. Here's the thing. When my life started turning to shambles, I felt completely abandoned by pretty much every person in my life, except for God. But like, God isn't here to like defend me and say stop picking on her and give me a physical hug to calm down my nervous system, you know, things like that. And it was so incredibly hard. I was trying to heal from trauma and I had no one to help me heal through this. But what started happening is these people started being introduced into my life. And so one by one, like, God is like, okay, these people can go. And some of, like, very few people in my life actually transformed enough to accept me for who I am. And I wouldn't even say accept me completely for who I am, because they don't. But like, these new people, they are the medicine that my soul needed. And so that's what happens when we change this energy. I'm getting this fear of like, I'm going to be completely abandoned. It's better to not be myself in order to stay small so that other people will like me. So I won't feel this abandonment and just so that I don't feel alone. And so I think that is just a big part of this programming in this life, in this matrix. Like, stay small so that other people can like where you're at. Don't rock the boat. So I just feel like I need to give you a pep talk. Like, yes, things will change drastically when you rise above where you're used to being and where other people are used to you being. But really amazing, really cool things happen after that. And there's a compensation. The law of compensation comes into full effect and brings in these amazing people and amazing opportunities for you to be happy and to thrive again. So, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. I hope this helped. I hope that you choose to go after something that you feel called to do, to bring more light to this world in order for your light to spread to other people rather than their darkness be spread to you. So go out there and just be a light. I cannot wait to see what you guys can do. Okay, bye.